Welcome back to Outside the Cinema. In all likelihood, my abdomen hurts quite a lot right now.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah. Because this is 3 weeks into the future at the time of recording.
Yep.
Hopefully I'm doing okay.
That'd be really fucked up if you weren't and the shows were still going out.
I know. Well, I'll have everything set to go, but welcome back to Outside the Cinema. It came from Tubi continues for I don't know how long, man. They've made some good shows, I'll say that. This week on the show, 2 Tubi originals. One of them is going to go down into the annals of OTC lore.
I'm not even going to correct you on that because you're correct.
No, I'm 100%.
Yeah.
My words were chosen specifically.
Yeah. Well, normally everybody knows that I like to every once in a while jump in. But no,
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly with anal.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everybody that takes clips out of the show, one specific person.
Everybody. Man, yeah. We got a documentary, a Tubi original documentary.
That's a generous use of the term.
Starring High School Musical alum Vanessa Hudgens.
Yep. And somebody else,
Film
too.
called... Yeah, she's a singer, apparently.
Yeah.
A film called Dead Hot,
Yeah.
Season of the Witch.
And they don't even use the fucking song.
No, all the music was done by that girl, by the blonde girl.
Yeah, she didn't even cover Season of the Witch. I mean, if you're going to call you fuck you, movie.
It's going to be...
We're
We're going
off
to talk
and
about that movie. We're going to talk about that movie at length, and we're going to talk about the other film, No Filter, for probably about 10 minutes.
No Filter. That's what it was called.
Because Dead Hot Season of the Witch is a fucking vibe. Let me tell you, man, it is a fucking vibe.
I don't know what vibe, but you are correct.
It is a vibe. Anyway, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the show. If you're watching on one of the video services that we're on, whether it's Twitch or YouTube or on the Facebook group. Why is it? No?
You know why it does that?
Why?
Because it does it every week. So it has to.
And I've never once changed it. Never once changed
That's great. I love that.
It's crazy. Man, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Join our Patreon, support the show. I'm not working much at all, so
Yeah,
although
I
the
can
Patreon
imagine.
just pays for the show stuff. So yeah, I mean, these shows that are coming out in the future, it doesn't really make sense to go into too much detail. And I got a lot to do today, so we can just kind of get right into things
Fine
if we
with
want
me.
to.
I'm good.
Scott will be here. Joe, of course, is off for the surgery shows. He'll be returning in a couple weeks. Man, dude. So in the world of It Came from Tubi,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I will say this. Have all of the films been great? No.
No.
Have some of them been really terrible? Yeah, for sure. But I will say this. Tubi originals and Tubi films that have been acquired by them to be presented as Tubi originals have provided us with excellent content for the show.
Totally agree.
This week can go one of two ways. It can go into that historical OTC episodes of like, holy shit, that was fucking hilarious. I can't believe that.
Yep.
Or it can just be like, wow, you guys watch some real shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with that said, going to play you the trailer for Vanessa Hudgens and Georgia McGree, Gigi, if you will,
No, thank you.
pretending that they are enlightened in the world of witches. Here's the trailer for Dead Hot, Season of the Witch.
Open my eyes.
Salem has been associated with witches. Witches are healers. But you've got to be careful.
Oh my god, Gigi, something's happening. Are you here with us? We are taught not to cross lines between the living and the dead,
Are we, though?
the darkness and the light. But now, I feel like I want to share this part of me. They said the ghosts, come and get us, baby. We We've been interested in witchcraft and connecting to spirit.
We just want to know more.
The ghosts you're going to encounter are much stronger than anything you'll encounter anywhere else.
Is anyone here?
Oh my God. I don't want to go in that room. It's like on my shoulder. Feel how hot that is.
Oh my God. This is just as much about tuning into ourselves as it is with the spirits.
Dark is what we don't understand and don't know. It's not necessarily evil.
So many women were killed because of such a pure thing that they were practicing as a sisterhood.
This whole journey you're on is about you finding the goddess right there inside of you. She's been there all along.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
You know who
he
hates
has
this
nothing to do with
movie?
this. Jesus.
Goody Proctor hates this movie.
Oh my God. So, all cast: Vanessa Hudgens and Georgia Gigi McGree. That's all that's listed under that. Cast and crew, producers. There's 7 producers listed.
Of course there are. Of course there are.
7 producers.
And 2 of them are Gigi and...
No,
You kidding
no.
me?
I'm saying producer. They're not listed here. 7. Jake D'Onofrio, Rupert Dobson, Michael J. Driscoll, Steve Ezel, Farnaz Farjum, Kimberly Goodman, and Julie Pizizzi are your producers. 7.
What do you usually get? Like
7.
3 at the most? And then a
I mean,
couple
some of those
executives?
films. But the point that it's
Go ahead. Just relax. And
who even directed? Who's the director? It's not even listed.
no, because there wasn't one.
Cast 2, producer 7, composer 1, and it's Gigi McCree. 2 editors, 1 production manager, 1 art department, 4 sound department people, 4 people for camera and electrical department, 1 person for musical department.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm
sure-
I'm okay with all of those audio people because at least I could hear what was going on and it was okay.
Audio was good.
Yeah.
It was shot on quality equipment.
It was. They actually went
Okay.
to Salem. That's another huge plus for
Yep.
me.
Yep. So this is a documentary that is the brainchild vanity project
It is. Yes.
of Vanessa Hudgens and one of her friends, Georgia McCree, who goes by Gigi McCree. She is a singer. They have both appeared on the Boulet Brothers Dragula show as guest judges. Basically, this Gigi McCree, she seems like she's a hang. I'm gonna be okay, guys. I'm gonna be probably kind of mean in this because I'm in a bad mood anyway. But she seems like a hanger-on. Like she became friends with Vanessa Hudgens, and like her and Vanessa Hudgens were on the Boulet Brothers together. She has 1 music video out.
Yeah.
Let's check Spotify and see if she's got anything listed here. Gigi M. What's it? What's her name again? McGree?
Georgia McGree.
M-A-G-R. She's not even listed. E-E.
Shit.
Gigi
I have
Perez.
music on Spotify. Come on.
I got music on Spotify too. Let me put it in. I put that under Gigi, but let me see if it's under Georgia.
Oh, right.
Georgia McGree. No. Wait. Oh, okay, there she is.
Okay.
Gigi. Oh, it's just Gigi, like the letter G, the letter G, not G-I-G-I like they had in all the info for the movie.
Oh.
Okay, so she has got 332,000 listeners
Oh, not bad.
monthly, which is much better than me and much better than most people.
I mean, the music wasn't bad for the genre that it was.
Don't do that. It was bad. And it was so contrite and so like I wrote this really beautiful gothic piece for this movie that we're making about us being witches. And the lyrics were like fucking
Oh God, I didn't even listen to the lyrics.
we're wicked and we're witches. And it's like the darkness doesn't overtake us.
So what you're saying is the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo have better lyrics.
Yeah. So anyway, it's the story. Vanessa Hudgens thinks she's a fucking witch.
Yeah.
And so she's talks at the beginning of this, they talk about how her and her friend Gigi made a documentary when they went into this castle and did like ghost hunting in this castle. First of all, this documentary that they're talking about doesn't exist.
No, it's just
I couldn't find it
earlier
anywhere.
in the movie, isn't it? When they went to that one
It's
in
footage that they
California?
used in the beginning of this documentary, but they were like, we brought a film crew with us to make a documentary
Right.
when we went to this castle, and we were so scared and so interested in the afterlife, and it opened something in me. And now I feel like I'm connected to the supernatural, and I feel this side of me that's coming out. And it's so again, dead hot semicolon season of the witch. I feel like this dead hot thing that the two of them are is like, if they're like this like group, and like dead hot is like the name of their group.
I just saw the girl saying hot all the time as like a callback to Paris Hilton. I didn't see it as any reasonable.
Well, I mean, the title of the film was Dead Hot.
Yeah.
Semicolon.
Yeah.
And then they had those matching leather jackets that said Dead Hot on the back of them.
Yeah.
So it's like their little crew.
It's just,
or
which is
something.
fine, I guess.
Here's the thing. Up until this point, I actually liked Vanessa Hudgens. She seemed likable in virtually every interview I'd ever seen her in.
Yep.
She was awesome in Spring Breakers.
Oh, yeah.
She was awesome as Kaylani in Journey to the Mysterious Island.
I don't remember that.
I mean, it's a Rock movie, isn't it?
It's a-
or no? Am I thinking
It's a what movie?
wasn't The Rock in it?
Oh, wait. Is that the sequel to like Lost World or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was a while ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was 2012 or so,
Yeah.
2010 maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, but I've always liked her.
I never had a strong opinion one way or the other.
She was likable. I mean, when she did Spring Breakers, it was like, okay, yeah, cool. You're not just the chick from High School Musical. You can act and you can do more adult roles, and like it works. And she's always just seemed really nice. In this movie, I wanted to murder her.
Yeah, she comes off as a really pretentious prick.
And like one of those pretentious pricks that has no idea what she's talking about,
Yeah.
but is so sure of herself.
Yeah.
It's the like, hey man, what year was the War of 1812? 1812.
Right.
No,
Right.
actually 1817. No, it's 1812. The War of 1812 took place in 1812. Nah, that's 1817. Okay, well here, this encyclopedia says 1812. Yeah, well, it's wrong. It was 1817. It's that type of attitude.
Yeah.
And all this all-knowing about witchcraft. And like, I'm going to be all over the place here.
Okay.
So the two of them are experiencing their witchiness, and they're just so those girls.
Yeah. Yeah, they're Salem tourists.
So Salem tourists. They go to the basement of Bunghole Liquors.
Yeah, because of the
That
name.
is a true thing.
Because of the name. There's two of them.
Is Bunghole Liquors really haunted? I've lived here my whole life.
Nothing.
2 towns over.
Okay, I'm not wearing my proton pack on my jumpsuit, so I will say nothing is fucking haunted. But also, everything is the most haunted place in the world. So, like, what the fuck? Pick something. No, Bunghole. I worked across the street from that Bunghole Liquors place. I've bought stuff in that store in the middle of haunted house shifts. It's not fucking haunted. Come on. It was just a
I've never
funny
once
name that they're like,
heard. Like, I've never heard that's like a haunted location in Salem.
No.
They look up some innocuous list of the 10 most haunted places in Salem because they're doing a documentary and apparently didn't do any research before they got there. So they do a Google search in the Airbnb that they're staying in Beverly, not even in Salem.
Yeah.
And they do a Google search for the 10 most haunted places in Salem, and that's where they're like Bunghole Liquors.
Yeah. Not the Hawthorne
There's a-
Hotel.
No. Here's what happened with this dude. They went to go to the Hawthorne Hotel or the Witch Museum or the Witch House, and all of them were like, no,
Yeah, most likely.
you
yeah.
are not filming here.
Yeah.
Because they go to Turner's Seafood
Yeah.
and they inspect the second floor, which I have heard that's one of the like more haunted locations or whatever.
Okay.
But like they don't go to any of the places that you would think because they saw what was going on with this, and the guy, the shift manager at the Witch House was like, yeah, I don't think so, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys are like, it's insulting
It is.
to
It is.
anyone that is in the Wiccan culture, or, you know, they don't, first of all, hour, 90 minutes, hour and 38 minutes, however long this movie is, the word witchcraft is used, I don't know, 100 times.
Sure,
The
yeah.
word Wiccan is never spoken once.
Yeah, and why did...
And any,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, anybody that is into witchcraft uses the word Wiccan. They don't say witchcraft.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and especially in Salem, and we talk a lot of shit about Salem, and there's a lot of fucking weirdos in Salem because that's the place. That's how it is. Okay, I get it.
I like it.
But, like-
I'm not arguing that point.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Salem. Never.
Oh,
have.
I'm a fan for this month, and that's about it.
Oh no, see, like the last, like we've talked about this before. The last place you would ever see me is in the month of October is Salem.
I may actually be in the parade this year.
Good.
Yeah.
I won't be there to support you,
That's
but
fine.
I'm happy you're going to do
I'll
it.
send you some pictures.
Appreciate that. I'll look at the pictures.
Nice.
But that community of Wiccans and witches, apparently, according to Miss Hudgens, like they would be absolutely fucking insulted by this movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah. First, because they weren't witches, the real
Right.
people back then. Is that what we're talking about?
That
right
was
now?
my
Or
Well, yeah. So
the
there's a point
Wiccans that are
where-
in Salem right now.
both. We were
Okay.
talking about the people that are in the community now.
Okay,
But there's
okay.
a point where they're sitting down and discussing the conversations that Vanessa Hudgens and Gigi have with each other are the most like these two women are in their mid to late 30s and they're running around acting, dressing, and pretending they're 12-year-old girls.
Yeah, my
that
kids would wear those outfits.
That discovered a Ouija board.
Oh my God. Sidebar. I cannot take anything seriously that takes Ouija boards seriously because they were made in a fucking toy factory in Salem by a fucking toy company. It's a toy. Good on Parker Brothers for creating this huge legend around the thing. But no, you're not going to get a goddamn thing out of it. And it's not going to be your grandmother, Gigi. She's not going to follow you from fucking Wales over to here just to fucking say hi on a Ouija board. Ouija boards are bullshit.
Yes. Vanessa Hudgens, who is 35 or 36 years old, like acting like a spoiled 12-year-old on vacation
Yeah.
in Salem. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's insulting to the community that's there. And then, and like I could see, and we have probably a better look at this film than somebody that doesn't live here. Because
Yeah.
we do know the area. We do know a lot of the people. We know like what it's like.
And we're going to be a little more harsh. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it is fucking insulting the way that they're acting and the way that they're talking. And so the point I was going to make that I got totally turned off on
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was that there's a point where the two of them are speaking to each other.
Right, right.
And they have just had a meeting with the woman that ran the bookstore. I don't remember her name, and they found a book, and she gets a book on, as she says, Hecate.
Yeah, I did look up the proper way to say it. I always thought it was Hecate, but it's
Yep.
Hecate or something like
Mel,
that.
what did you say was the proper pronunciation? She might have her headphones on.
Ah,
But she said the same thing. She's like, she's not even pronouncing it right.
right, right.
But so she gets this book and they go back to the Airbnb and they're like, oh, it was so fulfilling. And oh, I just keep thinking about all of these beautiful souls that were just practicing something so beautiful. And they were persecuted and killed just for their beliefs of something that's so special. And it's like, none of those people were witches.
No, Tituba wasn't a witch. Goody Proctor, what's his name? Giles Corey. I can't believe I remember these names off the top of my head.
Well, it's history that we've heard our whole lives.
Yeah.
But she's like talking about how like these precious women were, and apparently only women are witches, apparently, except for when they talk to somebody that's a male.
Oh, and
then
Giles,
the
who is-
feminine divine spirit doesn't matter.
Yeah, Giles, who had the best comeback ever to being murdered by being pressed with rocks. Motherfucker said more weight because he wasn't going to tell them what they wanted to hear.
Yeah. So she's spouting this thing about like that these women were persecuted so wrongly. They weren't. Yes, they were persecuted wrongly, but they weren't witches. They weren't practicing Wiccan. They weren't practicing witchcraft. They weren't
No.
doing any of that. All of the people were accused by people that were jealous of them,
Or wanted their land, or husband,
or wanted their land,
kids,
or husband. Yeah, any number of things.
It was
None of them were witches.
It's all greed. It was all greed is what it came down to.
So they're like driving around town, and then midway through the movie, they start doing ghost hunts.
Hold on. Before we get off this topic, I just thought of something. So I try to enjoy entertainment from people that I believe are good people. None of this makes any so like Rob Zombie, right? He's never had a controversy. He makes bad movies and music I don't like anymore, but I think as a person he's okay. So my point is, he did a song called American Witch, and the chorus is part of the chorus is 20 innocent. Even he puts it in his fucking songs that they weren't guilty. So, come on, Vanessa. But I get it. She's trying to sell a product to a certain group of people. But it's like talking about mermaids. And really, it's a manatee.
It's and the narration part where they're sitting in the room,
That was the worst.
reading from the journal and diary that they wrote,
Yes.
surrounded by all of the LED candles.
They recreated
That's the other
Sting's
thing.
video. Remember Sting's video with all the candles?
Was that what? No, what video was that?
I think it was that Fortress Around Your Heart. I'll find out.
Maybe it wasn't Fields of Gold. That's for sure.
No. Where's my trackpad? Oh, there it is.
So they're like reading these things about their growth and their discovery within their souls, and they feel so magical. And the other girl's like, "Yeah, it's so fucking hot what we're doing."
Wrapped
Like-
around your finger.
Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Good dog.
Well, somebody's at the door, so she's got to go.
You know, well, I mean,
Or
yeah,
walking
yeah.
by. Yesterday was awful because they were oh Jesus Christ. Yesterday was awful because they what is it called? When they go through and they grind up your street so they can repave it properly. That happened yesterday while we were
that must have been
recording. So I didn't even hear it, which is good. But anyway, yeah, my dogs bark a lot.
Yeah, I know all about it because I have my dog that barks a lot too.
Yeah, and
This-
that's why
like,
you
okay,
get
so-
them.
Okay, getting back to this.
I was trying.
No,
I was
it's
trying.
just like this movie is like this documentary is more about these two romping their way around Salem, dressing in these cute goth dresses and like outfits to show off.
Yeah.
And then there's like all these like things that are like thrown in that don't even need to be there. Like there's this scene where they're like frolicking around a sunflower patch.
Yeah.
In like bright red, each of them wearing bright red. And it's got nothing to do with anything.
That's right. That's right.
And then they go on a ghost hunt in the middle of the movie. Like they're supposed to be there. Like the story they're telling is that they're there to explore their inner witchiness, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're going to go on a ghost hunt.
More like they're in their ADD.
Well, I think what it was they realized that their witch stuff wasn't enough to make the movie long enough.
Yeah.
So they did that other one. And I get the feeling that basically like these two were like hanging out and they watched The Craft and were like, I could be a witch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Wiccan. What's Wiccan? Yeah. Like they hold these seances where like all of a sudden the girl's grandmother comes through and like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know.
See, I'm looking at a list here of the it's Ghost City tours. So this is by people in Salem, okay?
Okay.
What are the most haunted places in Salem? And here's the list going down. They're not numbered or anything, but the first one is Burying Point Cemetery. Okay, good. That's where some of the supposed people are buried. Then there's the Witch House, Proctor's Ledge, Howard Street Cemetery, Old Salem Jail, House of the Seven Gables, the Haunted Pickman House. Well, I guess with the name like that, it has to be haunted. The Joshua
There's the
Ward
haunted Pink
House.
Eye House.
Yeah. No, that's a restaurant. The Haunted Ropes Mansion, Gallows Hill. Gallows Hill is in a suburban developed area behind a fucking CVS.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not that. The Salem Inn, Old Town Hall. Oh, it says the Ghosts of Bunghole Liquor. But it says located on Lowell Street.
They went to the other one. They didn't go to the Lowell Street location.
They did, yeah. And I remember, and I will always know, they opened Bunghole Liquors when Beavis and Butthead were at their height, and the city had a huge fucking problem with the name. And then they basically pulled out an encyclopedia and said, it's part of the fucking keg, you morons. And it's still named that to this day. Grimshaw House, and then Wicked Good Books is supposed to be haunted. No.
So, with the exception of Bunghole Liquors, and they went to the wrong one,
Yeah.
they didn't visit any of those places.
No. And they were close, too, if they were down.
They were in. The one thing, and you will agree with me on this because we said it when we were texting back and forth last night. That's how you know how bad a movie is when Chris and I are texting while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Because we usually don't like to share
Right,
what we
right.
think of something until we do the review. But
Yeah.
I could not get by it. But they actually were in Salem and they were in these locations. And I don't understand how and it's like a lot of those locations are public space. You could just go there and film. They didn't have
Absolutely.
a large crew with them.
No, and they could have just filmed with their cameras and, a fucking Rode microphone that you clip on or something. But no, it's, I don't know. I just,
Let me read you this review here.
okay.
1 of 10. Unbearably awful. I didn't expect scholarly exploration of the Salem witch trials, but I expected a little bit that was referenced to be accurate.
Yeah.
Not even close. They didn't even mention that there were men who were also victims in Salem.
Right.
That was something I had an issue with because they keep talking about this overt feminine divinity and all this stuff, and then when they're in the quote unquote coven of witches, like they keep talking about the feminine thing, which I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
The issue I have-
That's Wicca. It's the new centuries. Like this thing came about in the 60s or 70s is when it started, crystals and all that. It's not old.
I didn't expect a deep dive into the various paths of witchcraft, but I thought there might be some information that might be useful. This giggly, inebriated, over-accessorized attempt by two vapid, fluffy bunnies to find ... something ... was painful to watch. Disrespectful to the victims of the Salem witch trials and had more in common with Ghostbusters than anything to do with real witchcraft.
Oh my God.
I found myself hoping some evil spirits would actually come out and scare them into some sense.
Yeah. No, not Ghostbusters. More like Zach Bagans' movie there that I tried to watch last night with Rip so we could make fun of it. And,
Demon House, that one?
Huh? Demon House.
Demon
yeah.
House?
Yeah. Yeah. And when I told her, no, this is real, he bought that house, she's like, get the fuck out of here. Really? Like, yeah, this guy's crazy.
And then he tore it down because it made his eyes go crossed or whatever it was.
Yeah. I really wish there was a good, succinct, followable story in that because it's an insane story.
Yeah.
But
it's all bullshit. When you start to do the research, the entire thing is bullshit.
Yeah. And his voiceover work, he is, for somebody that's had 55 seasons of his own show, he's bad. He's like Carvel ice cream level of bad voiceover.
What's wrong with Carvel ice cream?
Okay, so the story behind that is Tom Carvel ordered some commercials to be played on the radio. And the first time he heard one, he did not like what the voice actor was doing, how he recorded the dialogue. So he was in his car and he drove to the radio station and he did them himself.
Ah.
He's not
People
good
got to
at
know
it.
about Fudgy the Whale.
Yeah, but it could have been something exciting. It could have been good, but he just did, it's classic now because he did them on his own. But
Yeah.
at the time, it's like, you think you could do better? You didn't. You really didn't. But you know what?
Anyway,
He
all right,
did it.
let's-
He did it all the way until he couldn't do it anymore. So I got respect for that guy.
And he made Cookie Puss.
He did.
So,
He made Cookie Puss and Cookie O Puss.
Cookie Puss,
Yep.
yes. They have the Carvel ice cream cakes at the Shaw's up the street, and they have the Jack-o'-lantern one currently. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Because my kids really want one. They want They don't care what. And no place near us has them. The BJ's wholesale place.
Check the Shaws. The Shaws in is it Danvers?
There's one in Peabody, but I don't mind driving all the way up there to get one. It's not.
Oh yeah,
that
the one
far.
right up the street from me has it, and they're in the frozen. They're in the frozen case right next to the bakery.
Okay.
I got Mel a cookie dough one for her birthday.
Oh, nice. I think I'll
Anyway, all
I'll
right.
grab one on the way home. Maybe after the day after the election, I'll do that. Depending, and it can be either a consolation or a celebration.
It depends on whether you get Cookie Puss or you get Fudgy the Whale.
Oh yeah, because if Fudgy the Whale, he wouldn't like that because there's gay connotation to that.
Anyway,
The fucking
all
loser.
right, let's just I already know the answer, but I need you to do it anyway because that's what we do on
I
the
know.
show.
We
Chris,
talked about
Dead
it.
Hot, Season of the Witch. Do you recommend? And what is your grade?
To any aspiring documentarians out there, yes, you absolutely need to watch this. This is like growing up with abusive parents and you learn what not to do, so you become a good person. I recommend this movie as like make fun of it, not as a watch it to get any kind of entertainment out of it. It's not a good movie. It's not a documentary. It's basically a vacation video for these two girls that had an itinerary they had to follow. This is the worst movie I have ever watched for the show, ever, and probably will be forever. But it's a movie, so I got to give it a grade, and I know it's not a real grade, but it gets an F-. Fuck
Fair.
this. This is the worst,
Fair.
worst thing. And I'll be honest, when the movie started, I didn't even realize it was her. So
Well, she's had a decent amount of work done, and she definitely looks different than she did years ago.
okay.
She like I don't know. She had her eyes done, and she had cheek implants. I think at some point. And
I mean,
she
people
looks
like
different.
that plastic surgery look, and I'm not gonna.
I'm not a fan.
My opinion on it doesn't matter, but I kind of find it. There's a line it crosses where it starts to become non-human looking,
Right.
and she's not there
Okay.
yet, but she's close. The cheekbones are
Getting
real,
there. And
close.
she's not, and she's 35, 36 years old. She's not an old person by any stretch of the imagination. So
No, she's gonna lose it when she hits 50. Then if she can't handle now.
yeah. Anyway,
But that's being famous. You know, you got to always look a certain way. You can't look like me and make it.
but honestly, at this point, if it's about being famous, why is she making this movie?
I don't know. Yeah. Like,
I don't feel like she's been out of the limelight long enough to have to do this, which is why it's a vanity project.
Yeah.
It's that, like you said, they wanted to go to Salem
Yeah.
and they took a vacation and they were able to get some studio to pay for it.
Yep. And now to be totally fair, like, I don't like that Adam Sandler does that, but at least he makes full, complete movies with scripts sometimes.
And they make a lot of money.
They do. And what I really like that he does is he takes people with him. He's like, okay, we're going to do Grown Ups 5. We're going to do it in Bali.
No shit. Apparently,
And then he takes all his friends with him. And I gotta respect that. That is a good thing to do. He's a good person for that.
apparently Iran has started firing missiles into Israel.
I am not commenting.
I just got a thing about it.
This-
Anyway.
hey, remember how Threads started?
Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah, Iran firing missiles into fucking.
Anyway, I can't recommend this movie in sense of a recommend like, yeah, you should watch it because it's good. I recommend watching it much like you recommend it, the way you recommend it. It is, what's the word I want to use? It is flabbergasting how ineptly made and how lowbrow, hey, look at me, this film is.
To be fair, the production value is fine.
They've got good quality cameras. I think they shot it on Sony stuff. They shot it on like Sony FX6s and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So like, and you can see the camera operators, like they got like, you know, using, I mean, it doesn't take much to make something look good now.
That's
like,
true. That's
so,
true. Yeah.
but it's just so vapid
Yeah.
and they're so, and like I said, I liked Vanessa Hudgens going into this movie. I don't anymore. The two of them are just so unlikable and are just insufferable.
Yeah, I always felt like documentaries are kind of like a visual essay, and you need to have a thesis point, basically, that you're drilling down into. Whether it's where the hell is Richard Simmons, or I got to find Wang Wang, or this is my friend and terrible things happened. You have a reason to do it. They had a reason, but then totally lost that about 45 minutes in, maybe
I don't
sooner.
even get, yeah, it wasn't even that far.
The idea
And
was
that
let's
the
go to
thing.
Salem and be witches.
Yeah. Yeah. Without doing any research or any like
Yeah.
fact checking or anything.
Yep.
And it's really infuriating as a person from this area, number one. And number two, as like a filmmaker, like I'm watching this and I'm like, there are so many things and ways they could have taken this film to keep the story more interesting. Not like, okay, now we're gonna hunt ghosts, and now we're gonna go back to studying witches, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Where like with the history of Salem, like how they didn't tell some sort of retelling of the witch trials in this.
Do you know how
was
easy
like-
it would be to retell the
With the
witch
amount
trials?
of with the amount of voiceovers they already did,
yeah,
like
but, like frame it in modern day as well with repression of women. Like, say this never ends until we make it end. Like I just gave your movie a fucking point.
right. But the fact that there's no retelling of the actual Salem witch trials, and they just kind of come in here and stomp all over the ideas, and then exploit the people that they had in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like of like, oh well, you guys are a coven, and now we're part of your coven, and you know they're like, you know, they were told to tell them certain things. Oh yeah, I can feel your energy and feel like you know they were told to tell them that they weren't like.
Yeah.
It's
Well, they're getting
infuriating.
paid. They're doing a job, right? So they're doing their job
Maybe.
properly.
Maybe it's infuriating. It's one of the most mind-bogglingly bad movies
Yeah.
I've seen in a really, really long time. I don't know if I could say it's the worst movie I've ever seen for the show, but it is definitely one of the most infuriating. And I think you should watch it as a listener to be as mad as we were and just how bad it is.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And it's free, so it's not that big a deal.
Included in Tubi. And I was very happy when the breaks came, actually.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Next up, 2022's No_Filter. That's how you have to look it up on IMDb.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
have a
yeah.
trailer for this.
That's weird, isn't it? Like this is a real movie and the other one
Yeah.
wasn't.
And there's no trailer.
Of course.
Bizarre. Weird. Really weird, actually.
That is weird, yeah.
How is there no... Oh, wait. Video. Oh, no, yeah. There's no videos attached to it.
Huh.
Oh, weird. Weird. Oh, I just accidentally closed it. Anyway, doesn't matter. No Filter, starring Hannah McIver, MC, Iver, Massiver.
Sounds good. It's fine.
Well, she's British,
Yeah.
and her accent comes through a few times. Jasmine Dowd, same thing, British, and sometimes you hear her accent. And they're all speaking with American accents in this film, and not one person in this film was actually American, I don't think. Story of this is you got Anna. She is a budding social media star. She is on vacation in Bali, where she comes across Scott, played by Samuel van der Zwalmen. And
sounds right.
he van der Zwalmen
I don't
with
know.
a Z.
I don't know. It's fine.
And he's known as Scott Scares. He does a social media channel and videos and YouTube and all that stuff where basically he does scare pranks with people, and she recognizes him and they work together to do a scare prank.
Yeah.
And they do it and you think everything is cool, and then he reposts her stuff, and then we see him editing the videos. And he's in his studio or whatever editing the videos, and then things get kind of weird. There's some interference on the phone. He gets some weird text messages. And then he sees a video of him killing himself.
Yeah.
And then kills himself.
Yeah.
Stabs himself through the bottom of his chin, up through his mouth with a big old knife.
Yep.
Big old knife.
Yep. That's a thing that happened.
Yep. And we go back to meet Hannah. And apparently Hannah's a high school student, despite the fact that she looks like she's 32 years old.
When we meet her, she looks 12, though. And
You
then
thought so?
When she's in Bali without makeup or being all fancy dressed up or whatever, I thought she looked a lot younger than she was. And then when we see her at home, she has makeup and she's had time to take, to put.
Oh, see,
effort
the whole
into her
time from the
appearance.
moment I saw her, I thought she was supposed to be at least college age. We find
Okay.
out she's in high school.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know
that
how
was
old the
weird.
actual actress is. I tried to find out because I just feel like in 2024, is there a need to still have actors and actresses that are in their mid to late 20s, potentially early 30s, still acting as high school
Well,
students?
I could maybe think of 2 or 3 reasons why that might be good, but I mean, one would be experience. You want somebody that can act, and you also want somebody that you don't have to hire a teacher for and has special rules set up for how long
Okay.
they can work.
But like 18, 19.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you could do. I
everyone-
would say up to 22, you could be a senior in high school if you look young.
either
enough.
way, there's everyone that was in the high school here, I felt looked like they were far too old to be in high school. Anyway, so
Oh yeah, well,
Anna
because of
now,
COVID.
Anna now has a massive following on social media because of her relationship with Scott and the videos she did with him when they were in Bali. And she's coming back to school, and it's the first day of school, right?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It definitely felt like the first day of school, or at least back from holiday or something. And that's another thing that's weird with this movie, because it's very obviously made by non-Americans, but it's trying to be like American as apple pie. But there's like little things, like they say, "Oh, we're back from holiday." Like in the U.S., we don't really say that. Like you say, "Oh, with school vacation, summer vacation."
Right. They say university, we say college.
Right. So either way, there's like little things like that that are kind of weird. But so we meet Lauren, who is her best friend, and then apparently Lauren's friends with this other girl, Mina, who is just from the second you meet her, just a huge bitch.
Yeah.
To everybody.
I could not tell who was friends with who in this thing. It was difficult. They would make fun of each other, and it would sound really nasty, and then they'd be like, "Okay, let's go," and then they're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It was bizarre.
Yeah,
It was weird. It was it was weird. But I also gather the kids are kind of like that to each other now. Like they're kind of mean to each other.
Yeah, I was. My friends, we would insult each other all the time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, like this Mina chick is like,
I guess it's just weird to see it in a movie where you're expecting everybody to be nice to everybody because they're friends.
it's just bizarre. It's
Yeah.
just the interactions are weird. But either way, so now Anna's this big social media star, and a lot of people are like wanting to be friends with her and like be cool with her because she's become so popular. She's got like 300,000 followers now or whatever, and I get that. And this film does a pretty good job of showing the amount of social media and amount of online life for kids in high school. And I get that. And that's, I don't have to like it, but I totally understand that that's what it's like now.
Right.
What I didn't understand though was why the teachers allowed these kids to just essentially just be on their phones in the middle of lectures.
Yeah, that's normal, apparently.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Parents some parents have gotten so aggressive defending their children that teachers, I'm not sure. I know what's happening in school, and I think that the disciplining part is the most difficult part for the teachers, because how do you discipline a student that first doesn't want to be there, isn't listening to you, and whose parents won't follow up on any of this and back up the teacher about the behavior? So, yeah, my kid's school is, I'm not going to say crazy, but there's a lot of people that don't give a shit. And you can tell that the teachers I've been curious. I've wanted to see how they are when we go in. We don't have to do the parent-teacher day thing because they get fine grades, better than I ever did. So I'm not going to go in. But like I wanted to see how stressed the teachers were, or like what was going on. Because if you can't say, hey, put your phone away, shut up and pay attention, like even politely, which I'm not capable of, how can you run a class? I don't understand. But that didn't surprise me. And considering she's a huge social media star and everybody knows her, I mean, it doubly doesn't surprise me then at that point.
Right. All right. Anyway, so
But yeah, school's way different than when we went.
So there's a situation with how she's or not situation, but like there's these kind of like weird distorted things happening in these videos as they're like talking about different things. And we know that the Scott guy is now dead. And there's this, she's talking about how she's going to create this other account that's going to be made just for like horror movie scare stuff and things. And the first inkling that we kind of get for her that something is weird is she takes a picture outside. And there's a guy standing in the background photobombing them, like doing one of the whole like in the background. So she's using the removal tool to remove him from it. And all of a sudden his nose just starts bleeding like crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm interested in this
Yep.
now.
Magic phone. Good.
Curious as to how this is going to work, right? So, and they start to try to build, and I think this film starts off pretty strong in terms of its like, you know, elements of what exactly is happening early on.
Yeah, because
You know, we
I
start
looked
to
at that. I'm like, oh shit, she got a death note on her phone. Okay, what is she going to do with that?
Yeah, and so we get these different distortions, and then we see these versions of her where her eyes are all blacked out, and like, but the issue is that it all takes a little too long to really kind of get going.
Yeah.
So there's like the creepy kid that lives next door or whatever who's like taunting her, and then he ends up dying. But we don't really know anything about that because like the car just disappears.
Yep.
So this film sets some cool stuff up, and then when they kind of run with it, like there's no way to really explain what happened. And that was the first thing that kind of caught me off was he's blasting his music outside. She's trying to do her like makeup tutorial inside or whatever. And she's like, hey, Dick, like turn your music down. She's like, all right, I'm going to go outside. So she's streaming outside on her phone, or is she? And she finds him dead in the trunk, or did she?
Right, right.
And then she goes back inside and she can't, like her phone won't connect to 911. She can't call her friends. And then she's able to get her friend Lauren on the phone. And she's like, I'll send you the videos. And then the videos, and then we don't even see the videos.
No.
She sends the videos to Lauren, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Why did you do this with him?" And she's like, "What? No, I didn't do anything." She's
And
like,
we
"These are,
don't
like sexy
see
pictures
those.
of you and him."
That's what pissed me off. Is like it sounded like she sent the video, but the phone sent like a sex tape or you know
Something
revenge
else,
porn images or something. Yeah, there were too many things that were brought up and then never, ever brought to a conclusion. What happened with her magic phone in the end? I don't know. She didn't use it to defeat anybody.
Yeah, so sure, like so the friend comes over, and then so like we see that every time she looks at her reflection, like the reflection is another version of her with her eyes all blacked out, and apparently like that version can control her or like becomes her, and we get like a quick info dump of the videos that she made with Scott when they were in Bali, and they did this kind of weird ritual thing where they like stared into a reflection, and then there's this whole idea like, and this one thing that I thought was kind of cool that they did was the, you know, limited attention span of the youth of today when she's like trying to figure out what's going on. So she goes online and Google searches black-eyed reflection of yourself, and like she brings up a page and she starts to look at it. She's like, oh no, this is too long. And she closes that, opens another one,
that
and
was
then opens
good.
the video.
That was the most relatable thing.
Yeah, so she opens a video on YouTube, and then she's skimming through the video. She's not even watching the video, just trying to get to the parts that are going to speak to her, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. I did like the ritual they did, because when she's staring into that copper plate or whatever it was, her eyes looked black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, good. They made a connection. There's something here. And no, it didn't last long, but whatever.
Yeah, and it's, you know, there's like this whole thing that they're telling about the obsession with phones and like, you know, the problematic idea of the influencer culture. And like, I get all of that.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a pretty good job. And this is actually the guy that directed this. I didn't even mention that. Michael Dupret, who also wrote it, did a short of this a couple years ago, like in 2020 or 2021, that I know did really well on the film festival circuit.
Okay.
So he was given the money to make a full length version of it. And it's one of those kind of classic, you got some really good ideas. And I think there's some good stuff here, but I think not enough time was spent building the full length script to this because, as you said, there are a number of times where we don't know what is really kind of happening, what's real, what's not. Like the Tyler kid shows up at the house, and like she goes back and forth from being the evil demon version of her to back to her regular version, and then like she kills him in the bathtub, but then she's not like this was the another like the next part that I got to the point where she, like the Tyler kid goes into the bathtub and she kills him in the bathtub. And then she wakes up downstairs on the floor and she doesn't have any blood on her.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good trick.
But it was like, so
because she bit his throat out.
Yeah. So if you killed him, she would have to wake up covered in blood, right?
There would be some blood on her, yes. Especially, I would imagine, around the mouth or in her hair, because like bodies squirt blood when you rip open
she
the
also
veins.
dug her hands into his shoulders, remember?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it didn't.
So I think overall there's some good ideas here. Its conclusion is one of those like murky gray area conclusions. You can take what you want from it.
Yeah.
But I feel like also it's the same thing where like, you know, like the old school horror movie fan watches this and it's just like, stupid teenagers, just get off your phone. Don't live on your phone. Like, well, no, that is culture now. Like there's not like,
it is, yeah.
I get it. Yeah. If you spend as much time looking out the window as you did at that stupid screen, like, okay, yeah, but that's not how the youth is now.
It's also a very narrow-sighted view of what they're actually doing on the phones, because I've had my kids say stuff to me that's like our age level of awareness, like emotionally or situationally, or they'll use words that aren't part of their normal vocabulary, and then that makes me feel a little bit better about what they're doing, because they're looking at stuff about staying positive and being themselves and like art and photography and all kinds of stuff, and some kids don't get enough credit, and some kids
for
are
sure.
just garbage. But
yeah, I mean, just like so I think before we get to the grade here, I'll just say that like I think there's the bones of a really good movie here.
Yeah,
it just wasn't developed enough. So with that said, Christopher, do you recommend it, and what is your grade for No_Filter?
Yeah, I am not going to recommend this, and the reason that what fucking movie was it? I had it in my head. I was all set with it. I was good. I had a whole thing to say, and I can't believe I forgot what it was.
Was it one of the ones we covered?
No, I was going to compare it to something else, and it just, I don't know. I lost it. If I remember before the end of the show. I got it.
You'll interrupt me when I'm in the middle of doing my thing.
I'm interrupting you now.
You're interrupting me, interrupting you.
Amateur Night from VHS was a short that was made into a longer film called Succubus, and it wasn't as good. It's the same story, different location, different characters, but like it's the same thing. You know, the girl, I like you, and they, you know, all that. Sometimes building it out into a full feature isn't the right thing to do. Like, if you have a good idea for the script, that's great. But if you can't fill out the whole script, you got to ask for help. You got to. And we see so many movies here where it's like, if they just let somebody else read this, it would have been okay. And that's what's going on here. Like, the phone killing people is never used at all. It's just an accident, and then she freaks out. She doesn't even figure it out that she erased it and started to erase the kid, and his nose started pouring blood. That was never a consideration for any of them, and they just forgot about it.
Yeah, or at least never revisited.
Yeah, but that is like, that's a reality bending weapon you have on your phone. Why the fuck wasn't that used? So you give me the Chekhov's gun with that, right? At least in Little Bone House or whatever it was called, they introduced Chekhov's shotgun on the wall, and 6 minutes later it's fired. Like, that's how you do it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And there were just so many things, like who killed the kid? Who put him in the trunk of the car? Why did this happen? We don't know. And fuck that. No, I'm not going to recommend it because they did not pick up they didn't pick up any of the fucking loose threads.
No.
They're just still on the floor. It did sort of keep my interest because I had to pay attention to see if any of this shit paid off in the end. It didn't. I don't regret watching it as much as the other one. So
no regrets.
No. So not a recommend, and I'm just gonna go middle of the road D. No plus or minus.
All right.
Not fun.
I don't think I can recommend it either. I don't think I disliked it as much as you did, but
it's the dropped plot points.
I watched the other one and then watched this one right after it. So it was just coming across better because it wasn't nearly as bad.
Yeah.
But the biggest issues is that it has the ideas there. And I'm like, I can see a really good movie in this, and you're just not, you can't bring up that much stuff and then not answer the questions.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
just
not
too
against
much.
I'm not against supernatural technology.
No, definitely
movies.
not. I mean, whether it's even the early like Pulse and Shudder,
Yeah.
a lot of those Asian films in the early to mid 2000s that were like the first ones kind of looking at that stuff. Wow, it got really bright in here. My whole camera's like completely.
Oh jeez.
But it's just, there's too many threads and too many questions and too many things brought up without any type of conclusion. And the other thing is that, like, even with the ending, you're not really given much of anything.
No.
So
No.
I'm not going to grade it quite as low as you. I'll give it a D plus, C minus, borderline C minus, which is only marginally better. So
That's true.
But I think the first 20 minutes had me fully brought in, and then as they started to leave everything hanging, I would consistently get worse and worse, and then it was over, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was really thinking we were going to get a kind of Deadstream-ish kind of thing with like the comedy, and that didn't happen. Nothing funny happened in this. Not that it has to, but
No, nothing at all.
they start off with it being in a very light mood, so it did feel like there would be some kind of comedy. But whatever.
Well, lucky for us, we have plenty of comedy coming our way now with Reverend Scott revisiting Halloween 2017 on his show, on his episode this week.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott. And continuing with our spooky season time surgery shows, I'm going back in time yet again. Back to episode 507 in the year of our Lord 2017. That's when you were all gifted the Holy Shit Halloween edition that just so happened to fall the week after a Rockin' Shock, as well as the time Joe and I were both in the studio together with Bill and Chris. Ooh. We all ate some terrible treats, talked about some fucking movie called Rosewood or something, and we learned a lot about each other. A whole lot. Too much. But what exactly did we learn, you may be asking? Well, let's find out.
I believe people like this have always existed. Maybe not in the levels of concentration that they are in this town, Cooter's Notch, but
Slip It In Falls.
Yeah.
Oral Junction. Am I making you uncomfortable yet?
That one did, yeah.
Anal Hills.
But there's a lot of caves.
A lot of deep, dark caves.
Yeah. Yep, filled with treasure.
Some may call it treasure. Others would call it trash.
I heard that's where the highway runs through.
Like a hot dog down a hallway.
Through anal
junction.
Anal hills. What did you call it?
I don't even remember.
That's you follow the Hershey Highway.
Oh God!
Please stop that.
Okay. I want to point out that he's the one that brought it up again.
Holy shit with Reverend Scott.
Why does everyone hate me? Why do we do this segment? Oh my God!
This is where I would insert the evil music.
Hey there, Bill and Chris, and the ghost of Joe Harvey. This is Reverend Scott.
Hello, Reverend Scott.
And here we are the week after Rock and Shock. The week after all of our up-close and personal experiences. And I feel like we've all learned a lot.
Literally, like, not literally, but the literally that doesn't mean literally.
Yep.
And that's why I'm here the week before Halloween, to recap everything that we've learned so far. So let's see. I learned that ultimately Uno Pizza sucks. Chris learned that he doesn't really know what the movie Roseland is about.
It's a movie about
Josh learned that he wishes he could stay in a hotel room with me every time.
You know, I can say that I've slept in the same room as Reverend Scott, which is which is pretty cool.
Joe and I learned that Bill is a very generous host. A very, very generous host.
Hand jobs for everyone.
That's why I was like, hang on.
Hand jobs for everyone.
Bill learned that he's a real comedian.
Why is a taxidermist never hungry? Because they're always stuffed.
I learned that I didn't like to be looked at.
What are you all looking at?
Yeah.
Joe learned that, well, I'll let him try and explain.
Regardless of whether you have one of these in your mouth, or that was probably 12 of them in your mouth, it doesn't amplify the badness. It's just as bad as the one.
I think Bill also learned that.
I put like 4 of them in my mouth.
Bill also learned that he's the casting director for Chris's new movie, even though he can't pronounce the actress's name.
Your girl Maria Chiquitito Alonso?
Yep. Coming soon in Tarantulanch.
Yep.
Tarantulanch, yeah, that hasn't been
he
made
doesn't
yet.
really like Joe.
He's not doing anything illegal. He's not doing anything immoral. He's providing a service for people that need it. A legal service. But he's just kind of a creep. I didn't like him.
Joe learned that seeing that Jesus' guy's butthole once was enough.
I really didn't need to see the Jesus guy's butthole twice.
Chris learned who the villains were in the Alien franchise.
The real bad guys in all of these Alien movies, except
the Colombian drug lords.
Yeah, mostly, which is weird that they're that far out into space.
And yeah, I mean, they survived.
But, you find the cocaine where it is.
Cocaine.
Yep.
Chris continued to try and learn what Roseland was about.
I saw the whipping, and then I figured, all right, they're gonna have the African American guy take control of the situation instead of the other way around. Because what's his face here is a slave to his libido.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't drink it.
And finally, everyone learned what camels are for.
You would think it would be cups if it's the desert. You would want to be able to carry your water.
That's what I was thinking.
But maybe,
they just use camels for that.
Saudi Arabia.
They use camels for that? That's the camel's sole purpose?
Yeah.
Just run up and squeeze the hump.
That's how it works.
Shoots out the top like a fountain.
I used to be
A lot
funny.
of facts going on
The
here.
first water fountain.
This is the most educational show we've ever had.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what OTC is all about.
You blow our finger?
No. Learning about movies, life, and yourself. And what I did the Bill's microphone before I left the studio.
You licked it a little bit.
Well, that's about it for this week. So until you learn even more, peace and love, guys.
I just saw that dude's dick.
Did you? Oh,
very briefly, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
kind of cool, right?
Yeah. I like dick.
All right then, guys. Thanks for listening. Pre-recorded shows for the next couple weeks, and then we'll be back live. Make sure you check out the Patreon at patreon.com/outside the cinema. All the money that we generate through our Patreon goes back into keeping the show on the air, whether it's paying for hosting fees or internet fees or any type of equipment that's got to get replaced or upgraded. Also follow Chris and I on Instagram at OTCBill and at Cthulhu, just like Cthulhu, only with Chris at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Whatnot, follow me on Whatnot Old School Edge. I'm probably not selling anything currently, but you can also check out the Depop that we have at Horrifines is the Depop, depop.com/@Horrifines. I don't know if it's a slash, but you just go to Depop and search at Horrifines, you'll find it. That's about it. We'll be back next week with some additional Tubi stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be better than this week, I promise.
Better be. Because you're going to have to start paying me if we cover another movie like that.
Dude, show's over if we do another movie like that. Everybody have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
This is the end of your rotten life, you motherfucking dope pusher.